Well, it says we are live. Third try this morning. Just trying to read the Bible. For crying out loud. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. That's Ephesians. I think it was chapter 6. Look at Daniel 22. Verse 5. Verse 4. Well, King Ahab's being really ahead, telling Jehoshaphat, yes, you will win. Go ahead and go to war. God. And but I hate him. I put him in prison. So it brings out Micaiah because Jehoshaphat insists. And the Lord, Micaiah says, well, God, I saw a vision of God and his heavenly host, and God decided it's time for him to die. But he allows his council to have a say in how it's to be done. And verse 20, and the Lord said, who will entice Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said one thing, and another said another. Then a spirit came forward and stood before the Lord, saying, I will entice him. And the Lord said to him, by what means? And he said, I will go out and will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And God says, you are to entice him and you shall succeed. Go out and do so. And Micaiah the prophet tells Ahab and Jehoshaphat, the two kings, now therefore, behold, the Lord has put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these your prophets. The Lord has declared disaster for you. But Ahab goes forth killed in battle. Hi, Ditch. Hi, Jason. Glad to see you back. I don't know what happened on the first stream. I think it was because Taurus sat on the modem. Cats are so helpful. So we have Ephesians 6. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. We have Daniel 2. I'm sorry. Daniel 22, where the heavenly spirit in the mouths of Ahab's prophets. Now we want 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. Look out, Torah. You're just yes. You are. Come on, move it over and let me walk around in my own living room. Cats. It says that actually does happen. A cat sitting on the modem. Okay, I better give her some treats or she'll never let me talk and all that. Here you go. And there's Smokey Sue. And there's Tutu. Okay. Witta, there's no 222 chapter in Daniel. Is that verse 2? But Witta writes or quotes, he reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what light and darkness and light dwells with him. Oh, Daniel chapter 2, verse 22. That is a good one. Yeah, Cat Harry and the PC fan. Yep. Okay, here's one. First Thessalonians chapter 5. Times and seasons, you have no need to have anything written to you. For you yourselves are fully aware that the day of the Lord will come like a while they're saying there is peace and security, destruction will come upon them as labor pains come upon a pregnant woman, and they will not escape. But you are not in darkness, brothers, for that day to surprise you like a thief. For you are all children of light. Sorry, I got eye itchies. Children of the day. We are not of the night or of the darkness. So then let us not sleep as others do, but let us keep awake and be sober. For those who sleep, sleep at night, and those who get drunk are drunk at night. But since we belong to the day, let us be sober. Having put on the breastplate of faith and love, and for a helmet the hope of salvation. For God has not destined us for wrath through our Lord Jesus Christ, who died for us. So that whether we are awake or asleep, we might live with him. Therefore, encourage one another, build one another up as you are doing. Now, see, there's a surrealist novel is called The Darkening of the Light. You can hear me but can't see the screen. I don't know what my computer is doing, but it shouldn't do it. There we go. He can see me now. Good. Well, I had the share screen going. Evil computer, evil Verizon. And I didn't get enough sleep. I woke up on my own, but it wasn't enough sleep. It's what happens when it's so hot all day that, it kind of takes the stuffing out of me. But I can't sleep because I've been, partly dehydrated and partly just not as active as I ought to be. Oh, Ditch wants his favorite passage from the. Is there more than one book of Samuel? I thought there was only one. Oh, 1 Samuel. Oh yeah, there's 1st, 2nd Samuel, and then Kings and Proverbs or something. I used to know all the Bible books in order, but I've forgotten quite a bit. Anyway, this darkness and light, daytime and night, is quite reminiscent of Zoroastrianism. I kind of like 2 Samuel, chapter 22, verse 29. Which says, that'll do. You, Lord, are my lamp. The Lord turns my darkness into light. In Judaism, but I've forgotten it. Not the Torah. That's just the law. Okay. 1 Samuel chapter 2. Come on, computer. Hannah's prayer. Well, here we go. And Hannah prayed and said, "My heart exults in the Lord. My horn is exalted in the Lord. Taurus, stay out of my car. Knock it off. Cat hair in my coffee." Hi, Freeman. Welcome back. Hi, Weta. Okay. I like the way the book of Job tells you something without actually telling you. People complain, yeah, Job got 10 new wives and 10 new sons, but what about the wives and sons? Or was it sons and daughters? Whatever. Yeah, I guess one wife. Anyway, he got all his wealth back, but what about the people, the sons who died because God let the devil test carefully. Job is praying to God. And by the way, Job apparently was a pagan, or at least not a Jew. And yet he prayed to the one true God. Hey, Torah, quit it. But what were his sons doing? And their wives and all, while Job was on his knees. They were having a party. They were feasting and, not worshiping God. Oh, well, I like Ephesians 6. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. And that's what these times feel like right now. Yes, the book of Job, Ditch. Yeah. Oh, Lord. Well, I don't know whether they went to heaven or whatever, Ditch. But they were just enjoying the riches that God provided for Job and his family. And not thanking God. Well, even if you go to heaven, it is not your ultimate destination, according to John's revelation. Behold, I am making a new heavens and a new earth. And God himself will restore the temple and get to live on a new earth that is not corrupted. I like the way Gene Scott used to put it. The TV preacher who would say, "Send me money, I need a new Cadillac." And he didn't even register as a nonprofit. He paid the income taxes so the IRS wouldn't come after him. He'd already had a big problem with the government over his church. No, Weta, it was not a wedding party. They just partied all the time in the book of Job. So anyway, Gene Scott and Chuck Missler, I believe, too. God does not send you to hell. Or we, or you, or they. Anyway, people are walking into hell of own volition, not knowing what they are doing. They're choosing hell. Because it's all decorated and looks fancy. I think, Kimoto. Well, Wita, the book of Job tells a very old story. It is not actually the oldest book in the Bible, but his story is ancient. It's from before Judaism, before the time of Moses. So, of course, nobody was a Jew when Job was around, but they knew about the one true God. And there's I'm trying to come up with the name, I keep forgetting. Oh, Melchizedek, or the way we usually say it, Melchizedek, the king who blessed Abraham. When after Abraham rescued his nephew Lot and all the people of Sodom who had been captured by the pagans and taken to Jordan. I forget the name of the city. Abraham tithed to the priest Melchizedek in the city, which probably was Jerusalem, but it's called Salem, peace, shalom. Well, Melchizedek was a priest of the one true God. We don't really know much about him, only that Abraham gave Melchizedek a tenth of the spoils of war, and Melchizedek blessed Abraham. Now, in the Old Testament, the one who gives the blessing is superior in the hierarchy, the social hierarchy, and the political hierarchy. Oh, Witta likes William Blake's paintings and ink sketches on Job. I wish I hadn't given away my textbook from when I took a class on William Blake, but there were two reasons. One, I was drowning in books, and the other, the college library needed a copy for students who couldn't afford to buy the book. Ditch is in the camp that animism is the natural, in air quotes, natural religious state for all humans before they find religion or turn to atheism. I don't know. For me, I did not have any real religious upbringing. And before I ever saw the inside of a church, I just knew that there was God and angels. Oh, coronal mass ejections are coming from the sun today. Oh, lovely. Yes, shalom, Ditch. Okay, I wanted to get to the full armor of God if the spirits of the computer will allow me. The whole armor of God, Ephesians 6. Well, it's taken forever to load. Put on the full armor of God. The armor of God was mentioned in something I read earlier. I don't remember. I think it was Old Testament. Hi, Free. Yeah, Nathan's in the foxholes. No, I haven't turned to religion. I've been studying religion, especially since my time with Phil. But Phil really wasn't much into the Old Testament, just mostly the writings of Paul in the New Testament. Here we go. Ephesians chapter 6. You've got to keep going. Verse 18. Praying at all times in the... I'm talking now. This. Is that any better? I moved the modem. Do you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Oh, well. Okay. The most important part of the full armor of God is prayer. It worked for Job. His 10 sons didn't pray, and look what happened to them. Well, in these crazy times, we need to pray a lot. You don't have to be a Christian or a Jew or whatever to find wisdom in the books of the Bible. Do you say, well, a Tom Clancy novel is not the Word of God, so I won't read it? No. You read it if you like it. No, that Job's children were bad, Witta, but that they did not worship the God who gave them all that wealth. They were hedonists. They were into pleasure for its own sake. You notice Job's sons were not out herding the sheep. They had servants to do that. Okay, Ditch, is that mediation or meditation? You see, these spirits of darkness are even messing with my live stream just because I'm reading the Bible. They're real. I don't often get into this, but there are evil spirits and there are good spirits. And it isn't always the person who's doing something bad. It's the evil spirit behind that person. Well, welcome in, Carl. Good morning. Tora, quit pestering me. I tell you, cats are the bane of my existence. But they're cute and furry. You haven't said hi to your adoring fans this morning. I'm afraid to move the camera. It might screw it up again. Come on. You have to say hi to your fans. Come on. Ugh. She's a pest. But she loves her adoring fans. Yes. Yeah, it's Great Granny's rocking chair, by the way. Okay, now you hop down and I'll get your treats. And she's heavy. There's Tutu. Here you go. All right. Yes, Angus, cats are furry bundles of needles and razors, and they only get away with it because they are adorable and furry. I think that an evil spirit, an ungodly spirit, can influence a person to stray from the right path without actually leading to possession and a person being evil all the time. I mean, the devil doesn't need to go after the evil people. He's already got them. The devil likes to put temptation in front of a good person. Oh, Angus had a cat who never scratched him, not even once, not even by accident. And he says we were the best of friends. We had a psychic connection. That's how Pinky was, the cat who Phil just adored. Well, the devil puts temptation in front of you. Yeah, very few people are what they call perfectly possessed. In other words, they're possessed by an evil spirit and they like it. That's perfectly possessed. Most people who are oppressed by spirits want them gone, want to get rid of them. Tora, don't do this to me. You've been fed. You've been petted. You've had treats. That isn't cat treats, that's people stuff. She's pawing at my electrolytes, the envelope that they're in. I guess I better open a can. Kibble isn't good enough. Hang on. Oh, okay. Ah, hang on, Tora. Okay, all right. Ah, kitties. Well, I gotta get to the wastebasket with the can. Oh, okay, come on, Tracy. You can come in the house. Oh, ah. Oh, hi, Tutu. Oh, kitties. The back of my knees feel like they're made of tight rubber bands that don't want to stretch any farther. Yeah, spirit is breath, literally. And it says the Hebrew word for wind is the same word for spirit. Yeah. Yes, I guess ruach is breath. That's one of the few Hebrew words that Phil knew. Ruach. Oh, it could mean wind, but or could mean wind. Yeah, I don't know anyone who has a Hebrew keyboard. I can't. I suppose I could learn the Hebrew alphabet, but it just confuses me. And I do try, but not very hard. Oh, Angus's father attended 3 exorcisms and said it was terrifying. Now remember, some spirits are good. In fact, if it's true that the devil took a third of heaven, that means 2/3 of the spirits are good. That's twice as many good as bad. Oh, Ditch says no, or is light. You don't look like a fool, you just look like someone who's careful to check his own info. I think it's amazing that when Israel was finally formed, I think it was 1947 or 49, I forget which. Angus, yeah. Okay, Angus also says or is light. Well, according to John's revelation, when Satan falls in the end of time, a third of heaven falls with him, a third of the heavenly host. Nice language conversation in the chat. Well, it's okay, Ditch. It's a very interesting conversation. Freeman says it was 1948. Well, anyway, it's very interesting that one of the first things they did was to get everyone to learn Hebrew, to read, write, and speak Hebrew. They saved a language from disappearing as fewer and fewer people spoke it. Yeah, Phil did use a lot of Hebrew phrases, but he found them in things he was reading. He wasn't really learning Hebrew, just a few words here and there, which is what I do and most of us do. Well, actually, in the first century, when Jesus was walking around, most of the Jews spoke Aramaic because they came from the Babylonian exile, so they spoke the language of Babylon. Yes, Ditch. Modern Hebrew is a constructed language. It doesn't make it less valid. The English I speak today is nothing like the ancient English. It's somewhat like Chaucer's English and Shakespeare's English, but in many ways quite different. Yeah, Angus, in the Middle Ages, the scribes started putting in vowel markings in the, is it called the Tanakh? I think it is. Let me look that up. The word finally popped into my brain. Yeah, the Hebrew Bible is the Tanakh. Anyway, they were copying the scriptures, which had to be done because the parchment or vellum on which things were written would degrade over time and be lost if they didn't make copies. So the scribes started putting in vowel markings in their copies of the Hebrew scriptures. Angus makes a good point. We might dislike or even fear a certain group, but when we meet individuals within that group, we often can get along and even like each other. For example, I really don't like Russia, but I met some Russian immigrants and I liked them. Ah, boy. Yep, the backs of my legs feel like rubber bands that have already been stretched too tight, so they don't want to move. What really puts a block against me reading a Hebrew scripture is the fact that there are no spaces between words. It's the same on those clay tablets with the ancient Mesopotamian writing. It's hard enough to learn a new language without having to figure out where one word ends and the next one begins. Well, it must have been 1991 when the Soviet Union was breaking up and our U.S. government organized an airlift of food and other supplies to Russia and the former Soviet republics. There was a deal where the U.S. military would take packages, care packages, and we paid half of what the postage would have been. And I had been writing to an Estonian man who had been an editor for some of Phil's work. So I sent a box of ordinary groceries. Well, there were some Oreos and better cheddars, but mostly canned food, canned peaches, etc. And he wrote back, "We have never seen such food." And went on to tell me that his son, a child, really loved the better cheddars crackers. And I was amazed. He had waited all day at the shoe store for his turn, and when he finally got to the front of the line, they did not have size. His wife waited at the sugar store, and by the time she got to the front of the line, they were out of sugar. I hope our country is not headed that way. However, at that time, 1990s, if you had American money, you could buy anything at the dollar store, which was not what we call a dollar store. It was a store that accepted American money, and they never ran out. Uh, Ditch used to exchange gifts with a friend on Orthodox Christmas, and they were care packages. Yeah, I'll never forget the first time I heard, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." You know, Berlin was the city was divided. Our dollar stores are all closing. They can't survive in California's economy. I haven't checked, but is Berlin the capital of Germany again? Or is it still, it couldn't be the capital of West Germany because it was just this little isolated speck in East Germany. Angus says, yes, Berlin is the capital again. I forgot what the capital used to be. Oh, Bonn. Is it Bonn? Angus? Okay. Thank you. Well, Angus, yeah, Bonn during the Cold War. Uh-huh. Yeah, Freeman, there was just one highway to Berlin where West Germans and Americans or whoever could drive to East Berlin. That's interesting. Angus says the Ottoman Empire used to move their capital for strategic and political reasons. Oh, Freeman flew to Tempelhof. Yeah, I guess there was an airport where you could land to get to West Berlin. Istanbul was the jewel of the Ottoman Empire, Angus says, but it was moved around. When Turkey became a republic, Ankara, an industrial city, because the capital was under Ataturk. Oh, I see. Ankara became the capital under Ataturk. Yeah, well, Istanbul was Constantinople. If I remember correctly, it's actually two cities across the strait, one on the European side and one on the Asian side, but they're considered one city. Yeah, we're overeducated, Ditch. Ditch says the Netherlands has two capitals. Well, not everyone knows that bit of trivia. Yes, Angus, Asia Minor. Asia Minor is basically Turkey. The Ottoman Empire used to rule Ukraine and Crimea. Shortly before our civil war, Russia went to war and liberated Crimea from the Ottoman Empire, the Turks. But England and France were allies with Turkey, so they entered the war and forced Russia to allow the Ottoman Empire to keep Ukraine. And it's been nothing but conflict ever since. Nothing but conflict. It's almost 9 o'clock. I gotta send a Facebook message. Starts getting wobbly no matter what I do. Ditch was homeschooled. He probably couldn't tie his shoes, but he could solve string theory. I think people are still working on those equations. The problem with string theory is that it's mathematical and has no physical evidence. But the math is brilliant. I'm still tired. Not sleepy, just bone tired and muscle tired. At least Tora has quit pestering me now that I've opened a can for her. It's the time of year when I should buy cat supplies at the grocery store, because when they come up on a United Parcel truck, everything's hot, because even though United Parcel agreed finally to put air conditioning in their trucks, they're rolling that out very slowly. Freeman says he can make spaghetti. Does that count? Sure, why not? String theory. I know that Chef Vincenzo would be horrified watching me eat spaghetti, but I cannot wrap it around the fork, shove it in my mouth, and then slurp in the ones that are hanging out. I take my fork and cut the pasta small so it just all fits in my mouth. Spaghetti. I made lasagna twice, and the first batch actually got onto my cooking channel, except the part where I made the sauce didn't get recorded. The camera turned off, stopped recording for some reason, and I didn't know it. Oh, Angus likes Franco-American hot dogs and noodles. Yeah. You know, Franco-American ruined spaghetti for me. Their sauces are not spicy and they're very sweet. But I used to get a can of SpaghettiOs and slice up real hot dogs to put in it, because the ones that come in the can are just not the same. They're small and they're just, their texture's wrong. Yeah, Franco-American is Italian kryptonite. Well, if you put enough salt and sugar in just about anything, it's going to taste good. But when I made my lasagna, I didn't have fresh herbs and spices. I had dry ones, but I looked up what the seasoning should be and took a small bowl and mixed up the spices. On the second batch, the first batch was for my brother who likes bland food. He's so sensitive to peppers that he doesn't even like a lot of black pepper. But the second batch was for people who like it spicy. I still did not make it peppery hot. But I didn't have lasagna. I didn't have sausage. I just had ground pork. So I made a mix of spices for the. I looked up what kind of spices go into sausages and made a mix. But I despise oregano, so I cut that amount way down and substituted basil for most of the oregano. And most people will put a bay leaf or two in the sauce for a lasagna or a pizza. Not pizza, spaghetti, sorry. Brains fried. I don't like the taste of bay leaves. There's something about it that my body, my mouth and throat react as if it were a poison. It's a very sharp flavor, almost an aroma. And besides, you have to fish the darn things out. I used to believe they were toxic, if you ate the leaf, but the real reason is you might choke on it. Anyway, I left out the bay leaves. And by the way, I've been trying to make a pizza. Can't get the dough right. Well, actually, Ditch, the Italians say they don't really use garlic in their spaghetti sauce. Unless they're making garlic spaghetti. Let's see. Aglia e olio. For and, I always want to say E because I learned Spanish, not Italian. Aglio e olio. Garlic and oil. Garlic and olive oil. But I did put a little garlic in anyway, garlic powder. Some people can't stand cilantro. They say it tastes like soap. It's here in California, at least, we call it coriander. I'm okay with the seeds, the dried seeds that come in a jar, but they don't taste like soap to me. I just don't like it. Angus says, I remember having spaghetti with too many bay leaves at a friend's house when I was 6. I thought his mom was a horrible cook and never ate there again. Well, Freeman, it's a matter of taste. If you like bay leaf and oregano, or oregano as they say across the pond, go for it. Well, I'm making my practice batches of pizza before I put anything on Kitchen Challenge to cook. and I cannot get the crust right. But I'll keep doing it. I'll keep watching more YouTube videos and see what the heck I'm doing wrong. But they all make these huge batches. I'm not making 4 pizzas. I don't need that much dough. Oh, Irish stinging nettle. Well, actually, stinging nettle is very nutritious. Once it's boiled, the toxins, the stickers won't stick you. They their nettle's no longer toxic. Oh, this darn heat wave has made it impossible to cook a pizza unless I stay up till midnight. Even when I can't fall asleep, I don't have the energy to cook anything. Anyway, I have an old bread machine, and I tried the pizza dough recipe from that book, and I used the machine. It came out like sandwich bread. And I guess their proportions were right. 1 cup of water, 3 cups of flour. But the way the bread machine puts them together is just not right. I think I'm going to have to learn a lot more about pizza dough, or buy one at the store. Buy a frozen pizza and then put on the toppings that I like. Sorry, Chef Vincenzo, but I like ham and pineapple on my pizza with mushrooms. Freeman. Pizza dough requires soft water? Well, maybe I'll try bottled water, or the water from my filter pitcher instead of tap water. Yeah, I like the dough to be thin and slightly sweet. The Italians sometimes frown on putting sugar in the dough, but I put sugar in the dough. Semolina flour, that's kind of hard to get around here. And I'm not wealthy, so I haven't ordered it online. But they do say it works better. I gotta look up if it just has more gluten. I have a sack of gluten. I could beef up the regular flour with it. Yeah, I'm not really into the pizza dough. I'm into the toppings. I don't know what you're... Oh, did Ditch see my comment on a YouTube poll? Saw someone's comment. Yeah, you gotta have the right pizza dough. Hi, Oswald. Welcome in. This is my third try this morning. My internet kept going down. I thought I made that comment on one of Vincenzo's plate videos. No pineapple on pizza. He even has a t-shirt, no pineapple on pizza. And he has another t-shirt, no cream in carbonara. I was amazed to learn that there's no cream in Alfredo sauce. Everyone I knew growing up, everybody's mother, aunt, and grandma used cream and butter to make Alfredo sauce. I made it on a community poll. Well, that's quite possible, Ditch. And I do like pineapple and ham on my pizza. And it's even better with a few mushrooms. Ah, wow. Man, not when it's 90 degrees. Oswald has to unsub because I put pineapple on pizza. Sorry. Actually, they don't have to be on pizza. I can just have a slice of ham with some pineapple on a plate. But something about a good pizza sauce makes them even better. Oh, not anchovies, Ditch. Ew. Anchovies, to me, it isn't just that they're salty. It's that they taste like rotten fish. Although I do like sardines, and in most recipes, you can substitute a sardine for an anchovy. But the mushrooms are sufficient. Maybe a few olives. Maybe. I think I might just cheat and buy a frozen pizza and put my own toppings on it. Well, Freeman, you might think that anchovies are cat food, but my cats won't eat them. They look at me like I'm trying to poison them. In some recipes, there's so little anchovy that it kind of disappears, but adds to the flavor. But I've never tried any of those. Oh, the Mannix watch parties. I used to watch Mannix all the time. But I really liked Barnaby Jones. That was a good TV show. And but Mannix was good. Mike Connors really pulled it off. Good actor. Yeah, I really don't know how to cook, but I do know how to eat. And at a local shop, I ordered the Monte Carlo because I'd never had one. Well, they make it by dipping it in dough and deep frying it, which wouldn't be so bad, except the cook didn't know what he was doing. The dough was 2 inches thick, and even though it was brown and crispy on the outside, the inside of the dough was raw. The sandwich was cold, the cheese was not melted. So I'm going to have to try to make a Monte Carlo myself. It's basically, but I'll make it smaller. I'll make it with 2 slices of bread, not 3. But it's basically ham, turkey, and cheese dipped in egg and breadcrumbs and pan fried. This modern American version dipped in dough would be okay if they just dipped it and shook off the excess. But it was tons of batter that wasn't even cooked. Oh, David Susskind, Freeman. I didn't really watch it, but I know of the David Susskind show. Oh, the Reuben's ditch. Well, you can have a California Reuben, which is with coleslaw, or a traditional Reuben with sauerkraut. But really, what really ticks me off is what California has done to the salad. Come on, brain. What's the salad called? Caesar salad. You know, it's lettuce, basically lettuce, cheese, and an oil and vinegar dressing with some herbs in it, right? I forgot the name of the lettuce, the long, skinny one. Well, the California Caesar salad is all these mixed greens, including rocket, which is also called, oh, I forgot what it's also called. I don't consider that stuff edible. It's all these little tiny greens. And just not the same. Yes, Freeman, I had a traditional Reuben with the sauerkraut. Now, in general, I don't like sauerkraut, but it's excellent on a Reuben sandwich with either pastrami or corned beef. Pastrami is corned beef that's been smoked. It's the only difference. Anyway, I ordered a Caesar salad at a restaurant in Las Vegas. I was not gambling. I was at a Lions conference years and years ago. And the club paid for my travel and hotel. So why not? And it didn't say it was California style on the menu, but when the plate came, it was like, you're kidding me. This is not a Caesar salad. It did have some chunks of chicken in it. The chicken was tasty. Freeman, I've never had matzo ball soup. It sounds good. My main objection is the lack of salt in the matzahs. Yeah, well, I've seen matzo ball soup on YouTube. I think it was Chef Jean Pierre made matzo ball soup. That's interesting, Oswald. The Reuben is the PKD novel of sandwiches. They are good, I'll tell you that. Love them. Anyway, I gotta. Oh, Thousand Island dressing. That was my favorite when I was a child. You know, it's basically ketchup, mayonnaise, and pickle relish. Well, Phil was not a picky eater. He ate anything I put in front of him on a plate, but he did know whether it was good. I think my favorite dressing now, it's kind of a toss-up between raspberry vinaigrette and honey mustard. I like the sweet dressings. Yeah, um, on a Caesar salad, you have to have an Italian dressing. Oil, vinegar, and herbs and spices. Of course, it's kind of heavy on the oregano. Oh well. It just isn't right to use anything else. Yeah. But I gotta work on the pizza dough. When I'm finally able to make a decent pizza dough, I will put up a pizza video. Anyway, I need to make the sauce that I put on my lasagna. And since there's just one of me, I'll have it with, spaghetti or some other pasta, not a whole lasagna. Takes too long to eat one. I'm not sure what dressing they put on a Reuben. Yeah, a steak sandwich is different from a steak. You don't have to sit there slicing it up, for one thing. I used to get the Philadelphia cheesesteak sandwich. It's Swiss cheese and thin slices of steak on a sub bun, like a submarine sandwich. I'm still pointing my hands at the screen instead of the camera. Oh well. Oh, Russian dressing. Interesting. Yeah, mustard goes well on both pastrami and corned beef. So mustard should go on a Reuben. Well, Freeman says Russian dressing goes on a Reuben. Well, I don't know. When I ordered my Reuben, it came with everything already on it. No choices. So whatever it had, it was good. I used to like French dressing. You can't get French dressing anymore. You ask for it at a restaurant, they look like at you like you got 6 eyes. Never heard of it. It's tomato based, very liquidy, very red, and sweet. Oh, well. I think it's time to go around exercising, vanishing demons, vanishing internet demons from my house. I'm really glad you all came in, but it's time to go. It's that time of morning when Verizon goes down entirely, and if I'm lucky, I can watch YouTube, but often I can't even do that. So, thank you all for the great conversation, and have a great day. Oh God, Freeman wants to bring me pizza with a Reuben over matzo ball soup. You guys, be good, be well, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.